Joining me right now with his take and how such an investigation is likely to pursue and unfold, James Kallstrom is the former assistant director of the FBI, and he joins us right now. Jim, it's great to see you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, Mayor de Blasio is not calling this terrorism. We know that this was a pressure cooker and wires and a cell phone was attached to it. What does it look like to you?
Well, it's certainly intentional. I mean, the fact that most bombs are intentional, I guess, unless they blow up before the bomber gets to where he wants to put it.
But, right, it's pretty obvious that it's
I think this is New York. There's plenty of video everywhere. They got the best terrorist task force in the nation. The NYPD is very expert at responding to these things forensically. You know, hopefully this thing's going to have some from forensic data. Could have fingerprints. The way it's put together may be something that the databases the FBI maintains, you know, says this is this particular group or not, or it could be just some wacko that's pulling this stuff off the internet. You know, we really don't know. But my guess is, yeah, we'll know who did this, whether it's tomorrow or a week from now or a month from now.
Yeah, so that was my next question. How do these investigations move forward, and what are they looking for? I mean, you mentioned forensics. In other words, we'll see maybe fingerprints on this pressure cooker, things like that. So how long do you think before we find out who placed these devices in New York City?
I think it'll be fairly quickly, because you know, that stuff all has to be bought somewhere. The wires, whatever the detonating device was, it was a cell phone or whatever it was, you know, the actual explosive itself, you know, and these things tell a picture to bomb experts about how it's put together, you know, the sophistication of it. Have we seen this bomb anywhere, this type of exact bomb anywhere else in the world? Is it similar to the one up in Boston, you know, that people took those instructions off one of these Al-Qaeda, you know, magazines or something like that. But I think with all the video we have, the people will come forward and they'll solve this thing. The terrorist task force has to look at all these things that have taken place now. The thing in New Jersey, you know, here the Marines are having a run, you know, to help the people that have lost their limbs and stuff, and some absolute scumbag, you know, puts a bomb in the trash.
Right.
And then this other thing in Minnesota, I don't know if they're all tied together, but unfortunately, this is the world we live in today. We don't really know who comes and goes into the country. You know, we have a heroin epidemic everywhere in the United States, and this administration doesn't really seem to care about any of this stuff.
And de Blasio keeps up with that line of thinking by saying, look, we don't have ties to terrorism right now, but we know that it's an intentional act.
Well, of course it's terrorism.
Of course it's an intentional.
Of course it's terrorism. Of course it's intentional. We just don't know who did it yet. You know, whether it was inspired by something someone read, or as a group of people that have conspired to do this, or we've seen this exact type of detonation stuff before. I mean, look at Lockerbie. I mean, way back in Lockerbie, right, when the forensics, you know, the technology wasn't anywhere where it was at. And in that crime scene, they found this little dinky thing with a serial number on it.
Wow.
And traced it back to a place in Germany and solved that case. So
actually, that's incredible that they were able to do that.
This case will be solved, and the people that did this will hopefully be brought to justice.
And they are comparing it to what we saw in Boston, because it was a pressure cooker. And in Boston, there were nails in the pressure cooker that obviously were used as shrapnel.
But you understand, this stuff's on the web. You know, people that surf the web looking at this stuff, you know, people who've got an idea, hey, I want to do this for some reason. There it is. It's all laid out how to do this stuff. Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of damage in New York, but no fatalities, thank God. 29 people injured, one person critically injured. And yet, in the face of all of this, we're afraid to call it what it is because of so much politicizing going on around this political season.
No, I know. It's crazy. And it's kind of personal to me. My daughter used to live right there. Thankfully, she doesn't live there anymore, but she used to live right in that area.
It's a very crowded, small area, Chelsea. And here you are on a Saturday night. People are out and about having fun. It's the weekend, and glass is shattering because of this explosion.
Maria, we have to do something different than we're doing now. This administration is doing so many things badly, I think, actually, most of them on purpose, not because they're incompetent. They're smart people, but what they're doing, if this election is passed to a clone of Obama, I mean, we are in big trouble in the United States. I mean, big trouble.
It's the same narrative that President Obama has been telling,
Yeah.
and that is that the terrorists are on the run.
Yeah.
And in fact, we know that's not true.
I mean, we have to do things much differently than are going on now.
I want to ask you how we should be doing things differently and get your opinion on what's happening with regard to immigration, what's happening with regard to the safety of our city and our country.